no lives lost, no property damage.
Do we know visually what was happening? I've heard some accounts, but what did
It's a helicopter
report
crash.
to you guys having seen before this crash?
When our people arrived, the first thing they did was attend to the helicopter. Again, they wanted to make sure there were no trapped victims. Those victims were self-extricated, and they attended to making sure that the scene was safe and secure, and there was no fuel leaking into the fuel line.
But I mean, I think what Joe's getting at is we've been hearing accounts from neighbors that they could hear the chopper for a little while and then saw it come down. It seemed like the pilot was deliberate in bringing it down here.
So we didn't get a chance to interview any witnesses. For the most part, our goal is scene safety, extrication.
Do we have a status update on the 2-month-old and the pilot?
Everybody's stable at this time.
Stable, non-life-threatening injuries. And the 2-month-old, I know you guys are working to reach the family. Has the family of the 2-month-old baby been notified?
Yeah, we're still working on notifications, and we're not going to be releasing any names of the two-month-old child.
I think the police did get some.
So to answer your question earlier, yeah, so the reports were that there was a helicopter in distress, and as the helicopter, you can see behind me, came down Vermont Road, the calls continued, and it was that a helicopter was near crashing. And they could tell that by the height that the helicopter was dropping rapidly, and you can see behind here the pilot. Again, it's truly a miracle, like we said, that pilot was able to get that down there and save all lives of that crew that was on it.
Any idea how long it may have been in distress?
We initially got reports that on Route 1 it had started to experience a malfunction, and the calls came in around 12:57, and I believe that we arrived here at about 1:10, and the calls continued rapidly as we were coming to respond, first responders were responding.
Do you have any
Nice
idea
hairdo.
as to why
On the guy in the back.
helicopter
The guy in the front, no.
We do not. That'll be the NCSB will investigate that and we can further find this.
I was just going to say, from all accounts, what the pilot was able to do is amazing. Because our reports indicate that he first started to experience some trouble on Route 1 and was looking for somewhere to land and was able to bring it down Vermont, land here, and as you can see from the scene, there aren't even poles down. He was able to avoid pedestrians, cars, and, a testament to our first responders who were here immediately, and thank you for their service. They've been here all day in the cold, trying to work through this and make sure that the individuals who were on board were able to get to the hospital where they were able to be taken care of. And they're all survivors, and the pilot who originally had more injuries than others on the plane has just passed all trauma clearances.
Oh, that's
so,
awesome.
Thank goodness for all of that.
Thank God.
You're a doctor, seeing this and learning that the people who are on board are all stable. What does that say to you?
It's amazing. It's really a testament to the pilot and what he was able to do in keeping everyone safe. It's amazing. It's a miracle that there are no
Right.
major
Parked
injuries
in front of a
that
church.
occurred from this accident.
Just amazing.
Can you
Coincidental.
describe the injuries that the other 2 passengers on board experienced?
There were no other injuries to the other passengers. The 2 injuries, or the 1 injury was to the pilot, and like Dr. Taylor said, he passed all trauma protocols at the hospital.
And we know, obviously the baby, I don't know how much you can tell us, but obviously the medical flight, the baby was being transported to CHOP. The baby was in some kind of medical emergency.
We won't speak to the medical conditions or reason why they were en route to CHOP.
But stable.
Stable, yes.
Stable.
Yes.
Tim, when we get a call like this, all of us are worst case scenario. That's where our mind goes. Worst case scenario.
Worst
Right?
case scenario. I won't speak for everyone here. My heart dropped. I was back at police headquarters. We heard the call come out. The first call, I said, no way. And then the second, then the third. I knew there was a problem. My heart just dropped. Fire chief and I, we responded here on location, and this is what we saw. Again, it's a true miracle that everyone was out, and they were out prior to us getting here, and we assisted them.
I think that speaks, Senator Kearney and Dr. Taylor, they were in a different event, a number of public officials, but again, Senator, I know it was tough when you got the call that the flight was crashed. Oh no, we were in the car en route to another press conference at the training center, and to hear where we were talking about. I mean, look how populated this area is. Look how close to houses this helicopter actually came down. There's multifamily housing. All the FB is on location. The FAA, which they had that in verse. They are both here for the investigation. Obviously, the police work through, so you may have some local power outages. We may be here through the night trying to work it. But the good news here from Delaware County, once again, is those that were injured don't appear significant, and the child that was in need of medical care is in the hospital where they belong.
I should mention, I want to thank
He came in and summed it all up.
About 4 blocks over. I live about 4 blocks over. I'm the state representative for Drexelville. Heard the distress copter coming down, and me and many of my neighbors came out, ran out to find that sound, track it down, expecting the worst, and to race over here and to find out that this pilot and this crew not only saved the lives of the 3 crew members and this child, but also everyone who lives around here. The act of skill and proficiency and good fortune. We are truly blessed to have this miracle here today. Obviously, the helicopter never should have crashed, but an early thank you on behalf of the people who live here, including my own family, to the pilot and everyone else and the first responders here who kept us all safe.
Real quickly, Steve Brett, can you just spell your first last name?
Zabel.
Okay, so then at the scene, and Hank, still a very active scene tonight. What are we learning?
Oh yeah, it's a dynamic scene. There's a ton of investigation to do. That whole part's just getting started. But let me step out of the way. Take a look at this crumpled mess that was once an Airbus EC-135, a $3+ million medical transport helicopter. You see a chopper like that fall out of the sky and land on the church steps, and you ask yourself a simple question. How many are gone? The answer tonight, Daytona, an astounding 0. The 4 people aboard that helicopter when it crashed today.
None, man. Nobody got killed, y'all.
They're going to be fine.
That's
And the local
beautiful.
officials are telling us that it's either an act of God or a really good chopper pilot.
This is both. Doesn't have to be one or the other.
It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle.
Delco emergency management officials are stupefied. First, that a medical transport helicopter would drop out of the sky onto the front steps of the Drexel Hill United Methodist Church. Witnesses saw the chopper struggle, then make a desperate bid for land.
It makes no sense to me that it didn't hit any of the wires or anything like that. That it didn't hit us. We were totally, my wife screaming in the car.
And that's when he went there and he actually hit the church.
The flight originated out of state and was bound for Chop with 1 infant and 3 crew aboard. Delco officials say when something apparently went wrong, the pilot needed to set down now. Upper Darby Police Superintendent Tim Bernhardt says the pilot ran out of time and sky.
People were calling in a helicopter in distress, and they could see that the helicopter was in trouble, and he was able to get to this location and land that helicopter. And again, all 4 got out with non-life-threatening injuries.
Upper Darby Fire Chief Derek Sawyer says once all were clear, his team made sure the crashed Whirly-Bird did not ignite.
The 4 souls on board had self-extricated, so it's time to stretch hose line just to make sure that there was no ignition. Because of the fuel, we had to make sure there were no ignition sources so that we wouldn't have a fuel fire.
Good work, everybody.
Now, a couple of statements out this hour. Daytona,
Thank
one
you,
from a
Lord.
company called Mnth, which confirms that they do own the helicopter. They can acknowledge that the crash did occur. I don't think there's any mistake in that at all. And they say they will be cooperating fully with the National Transportation Safety Board, which will be conducting this investigation. Another statement, Daytona, from a hospital in Maryland, confirming that the flight did originate from there and that it was bound for Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. Now, again, Daytona, the astounding update here from local officials just a short while ago. Not only is that baby at CHOP where it was he or she was bound to be going, the worst injury here tonight, and everybody on board has cleared trauma protocols, is a bad back to the pilot. The pilot hurt his back, plunking that helicopter down, and got everyone else out on board, hurting only his back. I'm telling you, Daytona, somewhere in the U.S. tonight, Sully Sullenberger is holding up a drink and saying, "Good job, pilot."
Truly, right outside a church. So fitting right there. Hank, do we know why that baby was being transported?
We don't. We do know that the baby was being transferred. The family has asked for some privacy. Again, different rules apply when it comes to children. We don't know exactly why that baby was being transported to CHOP, but you can figure it's pretty important if they were going by helicopter.
Yeah. Well, chills.
Oh, by the way, Daytona, those those chopper flights can run $60,000. They can be billed at a very, very high rate. That's a big business.
Yeah, probably going to take care of that bill for that family there. Chills from the interviews that you did with people down on the ground, because we were all saying that earlier, the fact that it didn't hit the building, it didn't hit any surrounding buildings, no one else was affected by this, the helicopter didn't go up in flames. There's a lot of things working in favor for a pretty scary event.
That's exactly right. You see, let me step out of the way again. If maybe, Brian, maybe you can push to the right a little bit and look over to where those ambulances are. They're in front of houses, and it's more houses to the right. And behind where we are, it's apartments and nothing but houses, Daytona. This chopper crashed not in a warehouse area or a commercial area, God forbid a field. It crashed in a residential neighborhood, and the people, the witnesses that we've spoken to, said they saw him coming up the street, and he would hover over a parking lot, struggle to keep the chopper level, and then move to another place until, as I said again, he finally ran out of time and sky and had to put it down where he could. Did not even break an electrical wire overhead. Unbelievable.
All right, Fox 29.
Okay, he just told us a lot.
At Drexel Hill, outside of that church, outside of the crash point of that medical helicopter. We'll speak with you soon. And we are going to move along some of the other top stories that